Hey there, it's Isaac Guzman from LPT Realty and the Agent War Room. And in this video, we're going to be diving into the single most important element of your listing strategy, and that's pricing. But here's the twist. This isn't about sales price. We're talking about marketing price. Now, why? Because pricing isn't just a number, it's the first and most powerful piece of your entire marketing strategy. Today, we're breaking down the psychology of buyer behavior, how to build a CMA that actually guides the seller, and how to position your property at one of the three strategic marketing price points so you can attract the most attention and the most offers, really. So if you find this helpful, make sure you hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe, and share this with an agent who needs to stop overpricing and start winning the listing game. Let's go. So also just remember, this is actually part one of a three-part series. Today, we're just going to be talking about how to actually price, the way to think about pricing. Next, we're going to talk about how to have those conversations with the sellers. And then at the end, on the third video, is going to be how to have those more difficult conversations when maybe we didn't get the right pricing. Maybe we need to go back and have a re-strategy, repositioning, potentially even relaunch the listing. We're going to break that all down in these three parts. So again, today is just all about managing pricing. We're going to do a little mindset stuff. This is going to be extremely valuable, I promise. So let's start with how buyers actually behave when they're searching online, okay? Because this informs everything else. When a buyer opens up Zillow or Redfin or whatever their portal of choice is, right? They aren't reading property descriptions first, they're filtering. Okay. And their first filters are almost always location, number of beds, and price range. That's right. And so here's where bracketing matters. Okay. Buyers don't search for a $483,000 home. Okay. They search for round brackets, is what we kind of call them. 450, 500, 500 to 550, right? So when you list your home at 509, you're invisible to a lot of buyers that are searching under 500,000. Even if 500,000 is where the most demand is. Let's say you have a home that's worth 500K, okay? And you list at 509 because the seller is emotionally tied to not leaving money on the table. Well, what actually happens is you cut your potential buyer pool in half. Now, here's the thing. We got to layer in something called scroll psychology, okay? Every listing has seconds, not minutes, seconds to capture the attention of the potential buyers. So a marketing price is the first pattern interrupt, even before your hero image loads. So like pricing isn't just numbers. It's the emotional hook that gets the buyers to click, engage, and really show up in person. And that's the goal. Let's talk about that real quickly. We need to switch our vocabulary from listing price to marketing price because here's the reality. If you had a home that was worth 500, like we know the fair market value is worth $500,000, and I did everything for the open house. Best videos, the drone footage, the Matterport, the walkthroughs. I had a DJ at the open house. Could I get $700,000 for that home? No, I can't. But I did really good a job at marketing, Isaac. Well, yeah, but that doesn't change the value that people ascribe to that home simply because you spent that much money on marketing. Buyers don't pay for marketing, they pay for value. Okay. Now let's take that same $500,000 value home and I list it for $420,000. And I have blurry photos from my cell phone and I put a cardboard box in the yard that says for sale in crayon. That thing is still going to get attention and it is going to sell. Okay. So that should prove to you the pricing that you use to market the home is a major component of your entire marketing plan. And you have to understand that, and the client has to understand that. Okay. This is a big part is that is a marketing price, not a listing price. Adopt that, change that in your head right now and forever. Next, we got to talk about the comparative market analysis, the CMA, right? Most agents run a CMA like this. They pull 3 to 5 solds, they average the price per square foot, and then they guess. We don't want to do that. All right. That's not a good strategy. It's not a strategy at all, really. That's a report. Here's the real strategy. We build a CMA in layers. Okay. That's what you got to do. And you got to use it to guide perception and positioning. Okay. Not just price, right? Perceived value. and the way you position something is important and will have a major impact on the end price anyway. Okay. So here's how you can explain it to a seller. So, like step one in this, you're talking about sold properties, and you say something like, hey, these are the true matches. These homes are what buyers are willing to write a check for in the last 90 days or whatever the time frame is. Hopefully, there's enough data in the last 90 days to justify this. Okay. So, forget what they listed it at. This is what someone actually paid to live here. And we got to point out the patterns. Are these homes mostly landing in a tight range? That's a sign of high demand and pricing predictability. Okay. That's an important thing that them. All right. Next, we get into pending properties. All right. These tell us what today's buyers are offering right now. And if everything pending is below your number, that's a red flag, right? If it's aligned, hey, we're in a healthy window. That's pretty great. And the next thing that we got to look at is what's the active competition. Okay. Now we're looking at what's on the shelf today. And this is not indicative of what you're actually going to get. What we're looking, the reason we even care about this is because this is our competition. All right. This is what buyers are scrolling past on their phones. What makes you stand out? Let's flip through some photos together. Tell me, if you were a buyer, which of these would you go see? And which ones would you scroll past? What we're actually doing right there is decentering ourselves and helping the seller put on the buyer's lens. That alone oftentimes will change the entire conversation. Okay. So that's how we want to manage our CMA. We want to show them through that lens of a buyer. What we really need to focus on is the three different pricing strategies, what they are, how to explain them. Okay. So now that we understand the psychology of the buyer and the CMA process, we really got to talk about your options as a seller, right? Your pricing strategy. And here's how you can break it down. Pretty much every time, this is how you should do it. All right. So option one, the aggressive strategy. This is below market. It's actually designed to attract multiple offers. It's really ideal in hot markets or if the home lacks any standout features. Okay. So if we go 10 to 15K under where most comps landed, or, sometimes it's 5 to 10% is probably a good rule of thumb, right? Because 10K might not matter in a given market. All right. But if we go 5 to 10% under where most comps landed, we attract maximum traffic. And that drives maximum competition, which drives up price. And so, like, think bidding war. Okay. Now, option number two, it's called the align strategy. This is right in the heart of where the comps are sold. It's strong positioning. There's no red flags to appraisers or buyers. And this is kind of like the default, like market correct option. Okay. So we're leaning into the data here on this one. And the number tells buyers, hey, well, we're super serious. And it opens up all the right price brackets. Okay. It says, hey, come take a look at this right now. Option number three is what we call the aspirational strategy. It's above comps, but within reason. Okay. Now, I'm going to just be honest with you, this does require high emotional presentation, pro photography, great staging, possibly even a unique video depending on the price point, right? And we can test the upper limit, but we have to earn that price. That means your home needs to look like it's worth more than the one next door. And then we got to remind them we're not chasing a sales price. The market chooses that. Okay. We're choosing the marketing price, the number that brings the most buyers through the door. That distinction, sales price versus marketing price, is super powerful. It actually reframes the seller's entire mindset. And it's not emotional, it's a strategic thing that we are doing. Okay. That's super vital that we help them shift from the emotional component of picking a sales price or a listing price and get them into strategic thinking about this is a marketing price. Okay. So perception, remember we talked about that. Perception and positioning is super important. Okay. Pricing is actually the tip of the spear. It sets the tone for everything that follows: marketing, traffic, showings, and negotiations. And in the next video, we're actually going to dive into how we talk to the sellers about pricing, even when they want to shoot for the moon. I'll show you the exact words, the questions to ask, and how to remove yourself as the enemy in that conversation, because it can happen a lot. So don't miss it. All right, so like, comment, and subscribe if this video helped shift your thinking. Drop a question below. And here's the thing, if you want to see a CMA template or a script I use on every listing appointment, let me know in the comments. I'll send it your way, no problem. Remember, this is Isacc Guzman from Real Estate CEOs and LPT Realty. Let's go help some sellers win. I'll see you in the next video.